HaKadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with halachot now. After Kaddish, we're doing Kriyat Shema. Maran says in Siman Nunchet, in Dinei Kriyat Shema Birchotea, that the time of Kriyat Shema of Shachrit is Meshiret Chavero Aragilim Oksa Berichuk Arba'amot Yakirenu, which is basically when a person is going to come and he's going to see his friend in a distance of 4 amot, of 1.92 meters, and he will recognize him. V'nimshach Zmana Ad Sof Shalosh Shaot, and it's going to continue until the 3rd hour of the day, which is going to be a quarter of the day. Shuravi Yom. U'mitzvah min hamuvchar likrota kivatikin. However, there's a mitzvah min hamuvchar to read it vatikin. Right? What does that mean? Kivatikin. Rashi says over here, anashim anavim mechabevim hamitzvot. People which are humble and they appreciate the mitzvot. They actually appreciate them. Shayu mechavnim likrota me'at kodam Netz Hachama. That these to come and read it a little bit before the Netz Hachama. In order that they finish it with the Kriya, with the Netz Hachama. And then immediately you're going to do the Tfilah with the Netz Hachama. And somebody that's able to do so, he has a very great reward. So first of all, here is something very interesting which I saw in the name of the Kaf HaChaim is that some people say that even if you cannot pray Netz, there's still an inyan to read Kriyat Shema before the Netz. Which means, for example, let's say a person is not going to pray Netz. He's going to pray 20 minutes after the Netz, for whatever reason it is, right? Still there's an inyan to read the Kriyat Shema Kivatikin. Because the Kriyat Shema Kivatikin it's not the same halacha. There are 2 different halachot. One of them is the Tfilah, which is Kivatikin, and then another one is going to be the Kriyat Shema Kivatikin. And therefore the Kaf HaChaim says, Nachon lachush l'dea zo, v'yikra lefachot parasha rishona kodem ha'netz. He says, if you're not going to pray the Netz, sometimes it happens that there's a minyan, which is going to be right after the Netz, right? So therefore, in such a place, and they're not going to pray Netz, still do Kriyat Shema, or at least the first parasha of Kriyat Shema, you're going to read it before the Netz. Now he says, what happens if you don't have tefillin? So he says you should only read the pasuk rishon and Baruch Shem Kol Malchut Olam V'ed, and after the Netz you're going to read the entire thing and Misomech Geula L'Tfilah. However, though the Shutor Letzion, Rav Ben Zion Bashaul comes and he says that even if you do not have tefillin, for example, a person that's sick and he can't put it on, or it's going to pass the time of the Netz, he could read the entire parasha of Kriyat Shema without tefillin. That is the Shita of Rav Ben Zion Bashaul, that he would read the entire thing without the tefillin, as long as he's reading Kriyat Shema before the Netz. So halakha number 1 is that there's an inyan to read Kriyat Shema before Netz. So even if a person is not praying Netz, still there's an inyan for the Kriyat Shema for be doing it before the Netz Hachama. Now when it says to be Somech Geula L'Tfilah miyad b'Netz Hachama, says also the Kaf HaChaim, but before the Netz Hachama, you should not pray. ומכאן תוכחה מגולה על המתפללים בימי החורף קודם נץ החמה. So says the Kaf HaChaim, this is a true rebuke for the people that they come and they pray before the Netz Hachama. Here, Baruch Hashem, we don't have that problem, but maybe next year, if they actually do leave the time the same way and they're not going to switch from daylight, then it would be a problem, because then that means that it continues going up, that the Amidah and the Netz will not be anymore the 6:30 like what it is now. It would have continued going up now 7:38 and continue going until you get to 8 o'clock and onwards. So therefore 8:30 even. So therefore that's where Be'emet is going to become very complicated. And even if there is going to be a heter for whichever reason, for the people that they come and they work and so on and so forth, you have to be very, very careful about that, because if you don't have that heter of the b'diavad of going to work and other things, Be'emet you have this tochachat miguleh that is actually brought down in the Kaf HaChaim. The last halakha that I wanted to bring down is as follows. What happens now, the ones which are going to be azirim likrot kevatikin, mutal likrot ulitpaleh bichidi. There's a halakha that if a person, if they come, and this is in the Biur halakha, that a person that always prays Netz, so he has a heter that he would be able to pray even by himself. And the reason why is because since he's always so careful in doing the Netz, and now let's say there's no Netz, so therefore he's not mechuyav to stop because of that, because of tefillah b'tzibur. He's got a heter. He always prays Netz. Every single day he prays Netz. So therefore, since every single day he prays Netz, and now there's no minyan for Netz, so therefore he could continue praying the Netz. That is actually a good heter, or it's a good way out, that if chas v'shalom, or a person, or not even chas v'shalom, a person's traveling, and now they're going to be traveling on the way. Now there's no minyanim. They're in the middle of an airport. So if they always pray Netz, so now they have a heter that they could continue praying Netz. right? They have nothing else what to do, so it's actually going to be very good. However, though Yalkut Yosef brings down, this is somebody which is davka yodea be'atzmo shemechaven yafeh betfilato. That only a person that he knows himself that he could have a lot of kavanah in his tefillah. He says, why? Dilavhachet tefillah betzibur adifa. Because if not, tefillah betzibur is always better, right, than actually praying by yourself, even though you're going to be praying Netz. And says the Shutish Matzliach, she'en la'asot ma'aseh litpalel biyachid kivatikin. A person should not do an action to pray biyachid kivatikin, uvifrat shedan maran ve'od revata shezerak lemitzvah min ha'muchar. Especially that according to Maran, it's only a mitzvah min ha'mufchar. So therefore, why would you do such a thing? Vehen el kabil lo yimas tfilat rabim. And at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will not come and take for granted the tfilah rabim, which means he will answer tfilah rabim. So therefore, one of the things that a person should be careful about is, even if a person is going to pray by himself because he doesn't have a netz minyan, so therefore he's going to pray by himself, he has the eter. But number one, as we already said, that's only if he's going to have a lot of kavanah. But if not, then there's nothing else what to talk about. And even number two then, right, even with that, the Ish Matzliach says, right, that a person should be very, very careful, because at the end of the day, tefillah b'tzibur has a very strong power. Now, even notwithstanding everything that we just said about now, there was a lot of people that even if it is that they would have done such a thing, they would still come to a minyan later. Whether it is because, remember, that according to the Zohar HaKadosh, Kedusha is a mitzvah to say doraita, right? According to the first Biur Halacha in Siman Kuf Kavchet, when he brings down the Charedim and everything, Birkat Kohanim is a mitzvah to say doraita. So therefore, for us also, not only for the Kohen to bless the Kal, but for us to receive the Beracha of the Kal. So therefore, you have these mitzvot, which according to a lot of different opinions are doraitas. And even if you're going to tell me that you don't have the doraitas, remember, if the entire world was going to be created, right, and the 6,000 years and everything, right, we said, if you remember, for Baruch Hu Baruch Shema, then we said that this was the Saba Mikelim. Remember that the entire concept that for Baruch Hu Baruch Shema, and then this is Rav Eli Lopian in the name of Saba Mikelim. And then he says that an Amen is 1,000 times stronger than Baruch Hu Baruch Shema. Amen Yeshem and Abba is 1,000 times stronger than that. So imagine how many Amen Yeshem and Abbas you have, or Amenim that you have, right, in the Amidah or in the Tefillah. And therefore a tzaddik should always remember, tzaddik shelo ya'abed kli milchamto. A tzaddik should never lose his armaments, right? What are the armaments? What are the fighting, the weapons of a tzaddik? Tzadi, what we said already, is going to be Tzadi Amenim, Dalet Kedushot, Yod Kadishim, and Kuf Berachot. A person could only fulfill this tzaddik to become a tzaddik if he's praying with a tzibur. If he's praying with a tzibur and he's able to have all these amenim that he's answering, all these kedushot that he's saying, all the kadishim that he's answering, right, and all the berachot that he's saying, so therefore he has it. Remember that according to a lot of shitot, Maran brings this down in Ilchot Shabbat, even if you're not going to be able to fulfill the 100 berachot on the Shabbat, listening to berachot acherot, listening to other people of the berachot, whether it's going to be Birkat Torah, right, he brings this down to do with Birkat Torah. Some people say even Chazarat HaShatz, that is considered that you are answering amen. It's as if that you said the beracha. And therefore it's very important to remember about answering amenim and paying attention to what we are doing throughout the tefillot in order that we actually have, at least ochala, we could aspire to become tzaddikim, that we have our weaponry that we're able to use with Zrat Hashem.